So, hello everyone, hope you're well. Welcome to our webinar today where we're going to talk you through all about our social paradise at sea, which is of course our beautiful Azura. And we're going to talk about her fly cruises to the Mediterranean, which we know go in the summer months from Malta. And then her Canary Island fly cruises that go from Tenerife in the winter. Now, before I get started, I should probably introduce myself. I'm Steph Adams and I'm the Training and Engagement Manager at P&O Cruises. And I'm joined by our lovely training executive, Angie Angelova. So we are your small but mighty team of two. So what are we going to cover this morning? Well, we're going to talk all about Azura as she's the only ship in our fleet, and we've got a fleet of 7, don't forget, one for every day of the week. She's the only ship that's not based in Southampton all year round. We're going to talk about the great reasons why you should promote fly cruises to your customers. We're going to talk about how easy it is to fly out to Malta or Tenerife. And then we're going to delve deeper into those destinations and itineraries that she offers. Now, you are able to interact with us. Please do let us know you're watching. We've got the chat function that Angie is manning, so any questions, pop them in the chat function. And do use those reactions. If you see or hear something you like, please do let us know you're watching. It's always funny on a webinar, we can't see you, so let us know you're there. Now, if you would like to play along and answer some quiz questions too, do click on the polls and quizzes section, which should be at the bottom of your screen. And when you hear the correct answer, click away, get your right answer, because we do have shine points up for grabs. So those of you who get this correct, you'll go into a pot to be randomised, and we've got a lot of points to give away. So how does that sound? Is this going to be a morning well spent? I hope so. It's lovely to see those reactions coming through. So let's get cracking, shall we? Let's explore our Azura. So who is she? Well, we said she's our social paradise at sea, and at over 115,000 tonnes, she's what we would class as one of our large family-friendly ships. She is sister ship to Ventura. Now, she's 290 metres long, which is nearly 3 football pitches, and she can offer 3,100 guests true holiday happiness because they will be looked after by 1,250 crew. She boasts 4 swimming pools and 6 whirlpool spas, and guests will never ever go hungry or thirsty as she offers 22 restaurants and bars. They'll certainly never be bored because she's got 8 entertainment venues, so she's got plenty to do on board. Now, Azura entered our fleet in 2010 and was named by ballerina Dame Darcy Bustle. But in news this year, she was also refitted in March, so a really nice recent refit. And we've brought through her sunny disposition to the forefront with lots of modern, luxurious furniture, and she's really elegantly styled as well. And we'll explore her refit as we go through this presentation. And I've got a lovely video just to showcase how great Azura looks. So what's Azura's unique selling points? Well, first off, we've got to talk about her sea screen. So welcome to our open air cinema, where guests can have a cinematic experience under the sun or the night sky, which is just perfect for this ship because, as I said, she's the only ship that's based out in the sunnier climes, not coming into Southampton. So our guests can retract back on that sunbed, watch the world go by, or indeed watch one of our incredible family favourite films or latest blockbusters. They can go and get some movie snacks and have an open air experience, which is just perfect for the whole family. Now, my favourite feature, and if you've ever been on a ship visit with me, you'll probably know that this is one of my favourite venues on board all of our ships. But Azura launched the first glass house, and it was so popular on Azura that we've actually rolled our glass house across the fleet to all of our ships except Arcadia. Now, the Glass House is an incredible wine bar which is headed up by our food hero, Ollie Smith, who specially curates a wine menu. And it's the perfect venue where you can go and sample the most expensive bottle of wine by the glass. You can see the fantastic fizz or the 3 flights of wine that are on offer. You get 3 100ml glasses of wine. And if you love a glass of wine and you like white wine, for example, you might get some wines from New Zealand, some from Italy, some from South Africa, and you've flown around the world in a flight of wine. So you can see the great value that they are in there, but the wine bar really does offer you the opportunity to try something new. Now, also in this incredible wine bar, you can get Mediterranean tapas, hearty mains, and indulgent dessert trios. And I always have to pull out that British retro trio. The Jammy Dodger cornflake tart, it's like a throwback to your childhood. However, it is done beautifully. Now, our local food hero, Jose Pizarro, also features in the Glass House, and he's an acclaimed Spanish chef. And I love talking about the local food heroes because just because we leave a destination behind doesn't mean that we truly do. We can bring destinations to life on board our ships. And Jose Pizarro does exactly that. When our guests are out in the Mediterranean by day, they get back on board and they can go and sample some of his incredible tapas. You can see, we always talk about value at P&O Cruises, 3 different tapas for £10.50. But it is beautiful, let me tell you. Jose is all about bringing that authenticity of a destination to life. So I've worked my way through this menu, it's quite safe to say. But how great does the Glass House look? So incredibly popular on board. Now, another unique feature for Azura is the BE suites. And a lot of people are always surprised to hear that we do actually have accommodation types on Azura and Ventura, I should point out, as it's her sister ships. The BE suites are perfect for larger families of up to families of 6, because as we know, most of our cabins are up to 4 sharing. Now, the BE suites consist of a balcony cabin with an internal cabin attached, and you can see this here. So a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 6 can accommodate this suite. Now, they do get the same benefits as our suites, which is a great selling point, but you will need to call the partnership help desk if you do have customers wanting to book these suites. Because as you know, on Polar Online, you can only book for guests up to 4. Now, I always really like to point these out because there's only a couple on each of the ships, Azura and Ventura. So do really bear these in mind if you've got bigger families wanting to travel, particularly when we go into a launch period, because these cabins go quickly. And it's really nice that we do have the accommodation to suit families that are larger than 4. So how great is that? Who is going to remember that for their family bookings when they are talking to their customers? So she has some beautiful venues on board, and just look at some of these other key venues. If you look up here, you've got the Playhouse Theatre where guests can lose themselves in a spectacular show. There actually is 900 seats in her theatre. We've got the Manhattan Show Lounge, which I always think is great for cabaret acts in the evening. And, you know, you can go and party the night away as you are sailing in to your next destination. Or perhaps one of my favourite bars on board Azura is Malabar, which is inspired by Mumbai's Marine Drive. Here you can go and sip on some cocktails. You've got some beautiful entertainment going on in here, from piano recitals to dazzling bands. And you can really feel the glamour, can't you, of this venue. Now, Azura, as we know, has 22 restaurants and dining options, but she's got plenty of those options, including a firm favourite, which is Sindhu, all about that Asian fusion cuisine. We've got our main dining restaurants, which, we've got the Oriental Peninsula and the Meridian restaurants. So perfect for guests to go and enjoy the company of fellow guests and sample our delightful food. But also, we do have the Planet Bar, which I can't wait to get myself in. So you're going to go and get those panoramic views up on the high deck. But you can see this screen here where we do have cocktails that are inspired by the six continents around the world. And these screens show these iconic landscapes. So you might be sipping on an African sky or a Rosé Royale, but you're going to get views of the Serengeti or the Grand Canyon. So it can really pull a venue to life, along with the global music that we play in there too. So she's got plenty of bar options. She's got plenty of dining. You can see the pool areas look incredible. And of course, for those of you who want to relax on board, we do have the Oasis Spa and Retreat. Now, I always love to point out the retreat on our ships that are family friendly, because if you are traveling perhaps without children, there is areas on the ship that you can go and visit. Sip on those healthy smoothies, a yummy lunch here too, or perhaps go and have a treatment in the open air cabanas. So who thinks Azura looks like a beautiful ship? Because I certainly do. Now, if you do want to have a full tour of Azura, I don't know if you know, but on our fleet pages on Shine Rewards Club, we do have 360 images, and you can go and have a look around all of the public areas and some cabins as well to really bring these venues to life, to showcase the best of our ships. Now, Azura was recently refitted back in March, and if these images don't do it justice, I've got a gorgeous video to showcase just that. So here we go. Enjoy Azura's refit. Lots of love hearts going up the screen. So she looks excellent, doesn't she? And look, I always like to point out refit details because it really does show to our guests or your customers that we invest in our ships and do keep them in tip-top conditions. As part of the refit, you can see that we pay particular attention to the bars and restaurants and to the cabins and suites because we really want to make our guest stay more comfortable. We've elevated the design in most of the dining and drinking venues to reflect the overall quality of what P&O Cruises can offer. We talk about value, but we also talk about the quality of our offering. And I think when we've elevated that style, you can really see that. Most of Azura's cabins have been made even more cosier with new carpets and curtains. We've put new fabric on the desk chairs, sofa beds and headboards. We've refreshed the colour palette, and I love when you see the colour palette that we've got the wooden tones, the natural palette, and it's like blues and golds, so it's that sunshine holiday kind of feel. In Azura Suites, we've invested in things like new lamps, USB chargers too, and brought in a whole new colour scheme as well. Other areas that were refitted is that we've got new open air deck furniture. We've replaced all 6 whirlpools, all new carpet in all guest corridors and cabins. And then there's been a brand new layout for our loyalty and cruise sales desk as well. So we've invested in some digital screens and a really nice brochure rack. So when guests are on board having a wonderful time, they can rebook. Now, why I'm talking about that is I do just want to remind you that onboard sales is there as a tool for you. If you have made a booking and that has your customers are traveling, they're in the holiday spirit, they want to book again, get them to go to the loyalty and onboard sales desk because they will make the booking for you. It will come straight back to you. So you can spin that wheel on Shine Rewards Club, but you can keep that relationship with your customer. Plus, your customers can keep all of the extra onboard spending money and low deposit that we offer for booking on board. So it's a win-win situation. So do remember, brand new layout, but also an opportunity for you as well. So that was all I was going to cover on Azura, and I think she looks like a gorgeous ship. But I think let's delve deeper now into why our customers would book a fly cruise, who books, and then look at the itineraries that we offer. So why book a fly cruise? Why book it with P&O Cruises? Well, look, it is so very easy. With P&O Cruises, flights and transfers are included in the price of the holiday. So it makes it an all-round package price and a nice, easy holiday option. Now you can see the map here, but guests can fly from a range of regional airports. Not only London, Manchester and Birmingham, but East Midlands, Bristol, Glasgow, Newcastle, Belfast, for both the Mediterranean cruises and the Canary Island cruises too. Now, if you do need any more information on our flights, we do have a dedicated page set up on Shine Rewards Club all about flights, and that will include things like our flight supplements. Now, we use a range of charter and scheduled carriers, including TUI Airways, EasyJet, Jet2, British Airways and Air Malta. Quality airlines that pair with our product perfectly. Ultimately, it's really easy. When your customers land in a destination, our crew are on hand to guide them to their coaches once they've collected their luggage. But there's no need for them to worry about carrying all their luggage from the coach up to their cabin. We'll do that for them. Their bags will be delivered directly to their cabin the same day, so they can get on board and start their holiday. A top tip from me is always take a little bag, perhaps with your swimming stuff, so you can truly start your holiday as soon as you join the ship, so you don't have to wait for your bags to be delivered. But if anyone is worrying about how much luggage that they can bring, well, we always guarantee that you can always bring at least 1 hold baggage and 1 cabin bag per person. Plus, don't forget, at P&O Cruises, we do have those fantastic laundrette options as well and the free laundry facilities. So if you do need to refresh your clothes, if you're like me, you're forever spilling stuff, you could go and use the laundry facilities for free. So you're not worrying about that luggage allowance. It's all really great to see as well that, within 4 hours, you're in those sunnier climes and you can start your holiday. You don't have the sea days from Southampton, so you can immerse yourself into whichever region you're flying to and start that straight away. We're always atoll protected, so as with our brand that's over 185 years old, we are a trusted brand. So why not? Why would you not fly? And I honestly can't wait for my own holiday this year. But who books a Mediterranean fly cruise and why? Well, did you know that 80% of our guests that choose our Mediterranean fly cruises from Malta do so because of the destinations we visit? And look, even seasoned cruisers do see the appeal of these cruises as they can go and see something new and they save those days from not sailing from Southampton. And destination's a key reason why I've chosen Azura this year for my holiday. I'm going to choose the Croatian coast. I'm going to go to 3 places in Croatia and Sicily. And I can quite honestly say there's 4 destinations in my week's holiday that I've never been to. So for me, it is destination, and 80% of those guests do book that. The majority of our guests are 55 and above on these cruises. However, there's a real opportunity for families because, as we know, Azura is family friendly. But we do see the percentage of children lower than on our cruises from Southampton, even during peak season. So it can still be enjoyable for those guests like myself with no children. However, there's a real opportunity for families to see how easy it is to fly to the Sunshine as well as going from Southampton. Now, there's also an opportunity for newcomers as well, because I always think with our fly cruises, if you've got a customer who is already willing to fly, the airport doesn't put them off. Why go to one place when you're going to go and visit multiple destinations in one go? We've got so many different destinations that can be explored, and actually going on a cruise presents you with the opportunity to do something in a destination you've perhaps travelled to before, but in a completely different way. And we'll talk about some of the shore experiences in a little while. Now, after destinations, the most popular reasons for our guests choosing these Mediterranean fly cruises is because they want it to be stress-free. They want to see amazing things and they want to spend time with their loved ones, all of which we can offer in the Mediterranean. So let's whet your appetite and let's look at some of the destinations that your customers might be lucky enough to visit this summer. Lovely. Who can put themselves in the Med right now instead of a Tuesday morning on a grey day? I absolutely can. So let's look at our Mediterranean itineraries and what we can offer here. So of course we know that this allows our guests to explore multiple countries and cities within a week or two at a relaxed pace. Now, we offer 7 and 14 night options, but we typically visit 4 ports in the 7 days and 9 ports in the 14 days. Now, Azura is based in this region in Malta, typically from the end of March right through until October. So lots and lots of time to explore. Now, we have 3 core itineraries for our Mediterranean fly cruises, and they're Western, Central and Eastern Med. And the great thing with having such variation in the Med is that our returning guests can continue to discover new regions and ports due to the variance. So one time they might go and they might discover Italy, and the next time they'll go and discover Greece. And you can see from the maps here, we've got the 7-night option on the bottom and a 14-night option on the top. And you can see 2 different types of itinerary type. Now, these are perfect holidays for those who want to soak up the sun, get exploring by day, but then return to our ships with everything that we offer at night time. Now, in the Mediterranean, our top rated ports from our past guests include Dubrovnik, Rhodes and Kotor, Montenegro. So really think about that when you're advertising our fly cruises, because if you are going to pull out those destinations, we know they are top rated. We know our past guests love them. So really think about that with your advertising, perhaps in the imaging that you're showing. Now, the central Mediterranean itineraries will take you through the stunning Adriatic and Ionian seas. So we'll get you to destinations like Dubrovnik, Trieste, Zadar, Kotor, Kefalonia and Corfu. If guests choose the Eastern Mediterranean, well, they can immerse themselves in that Greek culture with stops at Piraeus for Athens, Rhodes, Santorini, and Heraklion, which is, of course, Crete. Or perhaps they want to try the Western Mediterranean, where we feature those Italian iconic ports, such as Civitavecchia for tours to Rome and Livorno for tours to Florence and Pisa. On that itinerary, they can also visit the French Riviera and Corsica too. So interestingly, the Western Mediterranean itinerary type is most popular for families travelling in July. And I think it's because of those really iconic Italian ports. It's a brilliant way to go and see some of those Italian cities. So think about that if you're advertising to families for this itinerary alongside those key top-rated destinations. So what a beautiful picture, and it's so gorgeous to be able to go and have the variants of 7 or 14 nights and the itinerary types. Now we want to make sure our guests can fully immerse themselves in these beautiful destinations. And did you know that actually at P&O Cruises we've got over 400 unique shore experiences? So our guests might go kayaking around the city walls in Dubrovnik, or visit the Acropolis in Piraeus in Athens, or just simply go and sample some Greek wine. We've got so many itineraries, and it depends on your guests' kind of interests. So if they're interested in rich history and the iconic landmarks, you can see some of the incredible tours that we have on offer. Perhaps they like charming towns and scenery, and look, the cable car in Old Town in Kotor, or that national park looks incredible. Perhaps they like to get cultural and culinary, and we know after destination, dining is one of the most important reasons that guests choose to cruise. We can offer, vintage Greece, olives and wine tasting, which sounds absolutely perfect to me. Or perhaps they like to go and try something new. And this is where I always think cruises come into their own. I've gone on cruise holidays and I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone because I've gone and done something I would never ever choose. And whether it's zip lining or going to the Formula One experience, I'm doing something different. Shore experiences allow me to have a story to tell in all of the destinations I visit. So do remember our shore experiences are there to enhance what an already incredible holiday our guests are going to have in the Mediterranean. Now, when our guests step back on board Azura, well, they don't need to worry about leaving that destination behind because they could go and try Jose's tapas, for example, in the glass house. But we also have cultural ambassadors who really help us to bring regions to life. And we have a programme on board called Bringing the World Alive. And these ambassadors run workshops where we might have shows that are themed by the region that we're visiting. So, for example, Italy. We might do pop-up talks about the local area. We might bring on local artists, language lessons, dance and music lessons, and then we'll bring on resident experts in things like arts and crafts as well. Plus musical guests in the evening to really just again bring the region to life on board. So who's ready to book a Fly Mediterranean cruise for their customers? Give me some reactions if you are, because I'm already there. Yes, lots of you really enjoying the Mediterranean. Angie, is there any questions before we move aside from the Mediterranean?
No questions so far.
No questions. Good. Are you still going through the quiz questions? Are you testing your knowledge? Now let's move on from the Mediterranean to, of course, the Canary Islands. So we said Azura is based in Malta from March to October, and then we reposition Azura down to Tenerife in October. Now for me, and if you've ever come onto any of my other webinars before, I've talked about travelling to the Canaries when I was younger. I was very lucky as a child to travel to Tenerife or Lanzarote, where my family enjoyed the beaches or the water parks. However, it's as I've got older and I've started to cruise myself that I've gone off the beaten track in the Canaries, and I've took part in some incredible experiences that I would never have probably done with my parents. Pottery workshops in the hills of Gran Canaria, to learning to surf, to visiting a coffee plantation, to exploring the islands on an adventure buggy. There is so much to do in the Canaries, again going off the beaten track, and I know many of you are used to selling holidays to this region, but why does a cruise holiday make it any different? And guests do typically want to visit this region because of that spring-like temperature all year round. We know that the warm sunshine is a really key a driver for booking this destination. But why else do our guests choose to cruise to the Canary Islands versus a land-based holiday? So who books? Well, our guests, they like that weather, as I just said, but they choose this itinerary because they are also interested in sightseeing, the natural beauty of the region, and then sampling some of the local food too. But we know with our guests, they want to go beyond that tourist trail and they really want to unlock the charms of each island and see somewhere unfamiliar. And all the Canary Islands, if you've been lucky enough to travel to them all have their unique charm. Both our newcomers and past guests love this region, and our average age for this cruise is 54. But we asked our guests that have travelled to this region in the last year why. And just under half of those guests said that before looking at a Canaries fly cruise, they were looking at a beach resort. So for you as an agent, it's really showcasing they can go and get to these beautiful beaches in the Canary Islands, but showcasing the difference that you can go on a cruise. Why just go to one beach in Tenerife when you can go and explore the full Canary Islands? Think about everything that's included, because we do offer that blend, that perfect balance of sea day versus ports. Now, our guests love to choose to cruise in this region in the winter months because they can go without less crowds, for example. Plus, they can explore the diverse regions where they can get out without that blisteringly hot heat. We know that our guests like hiking and cycling and climbing, and they're really interested in getting out to see the natural beauty. There's an array of festivals to be had and to be visited during the winter months. So, for example, the Carnival of Santa Cruz in Tenerife is in February. Plus, if guests have got hobbies like stargazing, in the winter there's much clearer skies. They might have hobbies like water sports, and the Canary Islands are the perfect region to do that. And you can do all of this as part of a cruise holiday. So don't limit yourselves to just thinking, for any customers wanting to go to the Canaries for that beach resort, why go to one place when you can go to all of these incredible regions? Now, let's have a look and get ourselves in the Canarian mood before we look at the itineraries in more depth. Beautiful. So what do we offer in the Canary Islands? Well, we've got the 7 and 14 night options, as you can see from these maps. And actually, research shows us that there is a difference in the type and the motivation of people travelling to this region, or indeed taking winter breaks pre-Christmas and post-Christmas. Pre-Christmas, from October to about Christmas time, people want shorter holidays, they want quicker breaks in the lead up to what is a manic time. So maybe the 7 night options are a really good option to advertise. But after Christmas, right through to March, the festivities are over, the real winter begins, and guests want a chance to go and get away from it and relax. They want those longer days, they want more sunshine than they're going to get in the UK. So it's maybe the perfect itineraries to offer the 14-night holidays. But we offer overnight stays in Tenerife, evening calls to Gran Canaria and Madeira too. So those are where we depart later than 9 p.m. So it's all about being longer in these destinations to really feel you can get under the skin of a destination. Now, for something different, we do also offer those repositioning cruises. Of course, when we leave Malta down to Tenerife, guests might be wanting to fly to each and then they can do something different. So they might head to Cartagena and Tangier in Morocco on the way down. And there's 8 or 9 and 15 and 16 night options depending on their pre or post part of their holiday. And then on the way back to Malta for the summer season, which we said is at the end of March, customers might choose to fly to Tenerife, sail to Malta, but they'll go to destinations like Valencia, Barcelona, Gibraltar, Naples, and Palermo, Sicily. So by this ship never coming back into Southampton, we're unlocking other key destinations as well. So your customers can go in search of that beautiful sunshine. So some really, really nice options here. And again, I just want to point out a few of the shore experiences we have on offer because, as I said before, it is about unlocking, going off the tourist trail and doing something different. Now, in the Canary Islands, we've got over 330 unique tours, and we break them down into a few types. So if we have a look at these ones over here, this is all about relaxing and having fun in the sun. I really think that toboggan ride, I really want to do that. I can't wait to do that. But also Siam Water Park. If you've got families travelling, go and enjoy like our Adams family did. Guests might want to be active and have fun in the sun, so they might go kayaking, canyoning, or trekking too. And again, in the winter months, you've not got that blisteringly heat or the crowds as well, so they can really enjoy these experiences. Or perhaps they, of course, like to have cultural and culinary delights as well. Now, you might see here we partner with Time Out as well, and we do have incredible experiences with Time Out. They're the destination experts and they encourage people to go and live like the locals. So they've really helped us curate some really authentic shore experiences in these destinations. They've also recommended some of our tours too as well. So it's all about seeing the Canaries perhaps in a different way than you thought was possible and getting that real authentic experience. So that was everything I was going to cover this morning about our beautiful social paradise at sea, Azura. Now, did you learn something new? Hopefully you've learned that this is a beautiful ship with many different options, from the food, the dining, from the options on board, to trying the different itinerary types in the Mediterranean and the Canaries. At P&O Cruises, we ultimately make it such an easy option with flights and transfers available. So why would you not see this as a great holiday option? If guests are already willing to fly out, go and visit multiple destinations in one holiday. Can you beat our value and what we offer on a land-based holiday resort? I'm not so sure, you know. I would say that though, wouldn't I? I'm going to let you go. Take care of yourselves and always check out the Learn and Earn Hub on Shine Rewards Club. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.